What's up, guys? This is Tyler, House of Cards TCG, and today we're running Buster Blader.
House of Cards
TCG.
So, what's the main problem with Buster Blader? I'll tell you, after testing this deck, Ashed on Red Eyes Fusion, it's so dependent on playing Fusion, which is an easy Ash target, and then boom, you're locked out of summoning, you can't do anything, and then you gotta set back row and pass and hope you have a prologue or a trap trick to then lock your opponent out. So we're gonna play around that in this build that I think is very competitive, and I can't wait to run it at my locals this weekend. So make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and let's get going with the Buster Blader deck profile. Alright, so starting off the deck, we're going to start with Buster Blader, the Destruction Swordsman. Now, this is the age-old question. Do you run the normal Buster Blader, or do you run the Destruction Swordsman? My personal opinion, if this is treated as a Buster Blader on the field and in the graveyard, you can still revive this with Buster Dragon. Also, it has a second effect that if it battles an opponent's monster, it can attach it to itself. And then it can destroy any opponent's monsters that have the same type. So, I want to say it's type. Yep, same type. So, why would you play traditional Buster Blader if you have the extra effect with the Destruction Swordsman? That's my personal opinion. Make sure to comment and let me know why you would play the normal Buster Blader, even though, yes, it looks nice. You get the secret, the prismatic. But this effect could come up if you're playing a matchup where you're able to battle over because you summon this from hand. Or in this opinion, I'm going to show you how you can tribute summon this and go into this Buster Blader, use its effect, and then equip that monster and destroy. So I play the Destruction Swordsman over the regular Buster Blader. Next, the mandatory 3 Buster Whelp with the Destruction Swordsman. When this is normal summoned, keep in mind, normal summoned, not special summoned, you can search out a Destruction Swordsman from your deck. So, you can add 1 Destruction Sword card from your deck to your hand, so you're going to search Prologue off of this card. Yes, that can get ashed, but this is only when it's normal summon. And make sure to stay till the end of the video. I'm going to show you some tips that I've learned in playing this deck, some different ways to summon monsters or to use effects in your advantage. So you have the 3 Prologue of the Destruction Sword, and we run 2 Memories. So what this does is you set Prologue on your phase. On your opponent's turn, as soon as they breathe, you activate Prologue. Prologue is going to send a Buster Blader and a Destruction Sword card from your deck to your grave. Case in point, you're going to send Memories. And then what that does is it lets you summon a Buster Dragon from your extra deck. Then you're going to chain that to Memories. Memories allows you to banish cards to fusion summon a Buster monster from your extra deck. So you're gonna banish a Dragon and a Buster Blader to then bring out your Fusion Boy, which is your Buster Blader Fusion. And that is the new Buster Lock. Now, the problem that I've ran into this deck is actually getting dragons to grave, because if you get ashed by the Red Eyes Fusion, just normal playing Red Eyes Fusion, you get ashed, you have no dragons in the grave. So I bring a variant. We're going to play 3 Black Metal Dragon. Off the Black Metal Dragon, I'll show you how we're able to just send dragons to the grave, use effects, and set Red Eyes Dragoon first turn with Anaconda. So off of Black Metal, you want the Red MD, because you're going to link off Black Metal for Striker, banish Striker to bring these 2 back to go into Anaconda. And then you have the 1 Red Eyes Wyvern. I play the Wyvern, here's why. I don't have Magicalized Fusion in here. So Wyvern is a great discard off of Dragoon to get to the grave. And it's a free search off of Black Metal. Also, you don't hate when you just hard draw it in your opening hand, because you can normal summon it, link it off, put it in the grave. It's another way to get out your Buster Lock. So Dragon and Grave. And I have the 1 for 1. This not only lets you discard a monster, which could be a dragon, which can put a dragon in the grave. Then you can special summon either Black Metal or Buster Whelp, depending on what your play looks like and where you want to go. The next engine that we have is the Dogmatika. So you have 3 Nadir Servant, 1 Ecclesia, 1 Fleur-de-Lis. Why do you ask? Nadir's Servant can send your Ash Dragon to the grave, which also gets a dragon to grave. You're getting the point here. If you can't get a dragon to grave, then you really drew a bad hand. And then you can search Ecclesia. Make sure you don't lock yourself out of the extra deck. These can summon themselves and you don't lock yourself out. But if you activate Ecclesia's on-field effect to search, case in point, 1 punishment, then you are locked out of the extra deck on your turn. If you play punishment, you're locked out for the next turn. So keep that in mind when you're playing this. Also, Nadir's Servant can add from grave. So I play 1 and 1 because Nadir's Servant, if I open it, I can just add Ecclesia from the grave back to my hand. So there is that play. And then yes, we do have the fusion here. So we got the Red Eyes, the Dark Magician, and the Red Eyes fusion. So off of this, obviously, you want to use Anaconda to play fusion because they can't ash that. Whereas if you just normally play Red Eyes fusion, they can ash that. And the other thing I hated its opening was when you played 2 or 3 Red Eyes fusion with 2 or 3 Red Eyes Insight, it almost felt bad. It's just like, how do you compete with the meta if you open those cards and you play fusion, get ashed, you have nothing to set up. So hopefully in the combo tutorial, I'll show you what my boards look like. For traps, we play 3 trap trick. So you set this on your turn, on your opponent's turn, you activate it, banish 1, and then set 1 of the same card that you banished. So for that reason, I play 2 Solemn Strike, which everybody knows what Solemn Strike is. And then Paleozoic Dinomiscus. Because why? Why? Because this banishes. And also, after you activate this and it's in the grave, if a trap card is activated, you can set that on your field, which is another monster. So I play 2 of those. I don't like Ice Dragon's Prison in this build, and I'm going to tell you why I don't like it. When you Buster Lock, which is the point of this deck, Ice Dragon's Prison, then once you summon a monster to your field, you get their monster, but then if you want to banish one from their field, they're a dragon. So you banish your Buster Dragon with their monster, and you don't want to banish your Buster Dragon. So I don't like Ice Dragon's Prison, so I play these instead. Because once you're in the Buster Lock, it almost feels like Ice Dragon's Prison just doesn't work because you don't want to banish your Buster Dragon and then give them access to be able to use their plays. For hand traps, we got 3 Ash Blossom. And I do still run the Gamma package. You can switch this up. I ran the Gamma package. It's just still so good. You don't have to play Gamma, but since you're not hard drawing Red Eyes Fusion and playing that on your turn, Gamma was great for that because then you could chain that on the Ash if you see it. But Gamma's still good. It's still broken. I mean, it's just ridiculous. If you lose a die roll, you go in second. It's just so good. And then I got the 1 Called By. Called By obviously is a great card there. So that is the main deck. It's only 40 cards. People I've seen 60 cards on their, main deck, and nobody wants to run 60. That's just Brick City. And also, with those 60 card decks and all that, I mean, you got 3 Fusion, Dark Magician, Red Eyes, the Driver. You have the 2 Buster Bladers. I mean, there's bricks in this hand. So playing it at 60, and then let's say your Red Eyes Fusion gets ashed, and you have no setup after that, it could be bad. So let's get into the extra deck. 1 Link Karibo as an option to go along with 1 Striker Dragon. Striker Dragon is obviously for the Red Eyes play because you want to banish it to bring out 2. I don't play Boot, but it's just another dragon. It gets your black metal to grave, and then you can banish this off of Red Eyes MD to bring back black metal and Red Eyes MD, and it puts dragons in your grave, so you don't hate banishing that, and it's just nice. And also, after you use Red MD, and then you link those 2 off for Predaplant, you get black metal's effect again, which is then searching Red Eyes Wyvern into your hand. We have the 2 Buster Dragons. Buster Dragons broken. You want that. So it turns all your opponent's monsters into dragons to go along with the Buster Blader, the Dragon Destroyer Swordsman, which then puts all dragon monsters into defense and can't activate their field effects. That is the Buster Lock right there. That's what you want to see. 1 Anaconda with the Dragoon. And then for Dogmatika package, you have Intis along with the Ash Dragon. That's your Dogmatika package, obviously. 1 Buster Whelp. Buster Whelp is just situational. It's nice. Also, if your Buster Blader Fusion monster, because it can only attack, it can't attack directly, which is the only downfall of it. But if you have Buster Whelp and it doesn't attack, you can still inflict damage to your opponent. It could definitely come up. or if you need to send a Buster Whelp into the grave, you can activate that. So I do have the Nightmare package with Phoenix and Unicorn to go into Access Code Talker. Just another way. I thought about getting rid of Phoenix and putting Boral Sword in there. Because, if you have Access Code and Boral Sword, either one is good to see. It just depends on your matchup and what you're up against. And then we have the Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss, which is what you're going to use your Buster Dragon and a Buster Whelp to go into to still have a negate on field. Because your Buster Dragon, after Prologue, is only good for that turn that you set it on your opponent's side, and then your turn. After that, it's destroyed. So you have to get rid of it, which I'll show you in the combos. For side deck, really you can play around with the side deck. It depends on what you're playing against. I run 2 Nibiru, 3 Lightning Storm, which I might mix up a little bit. 3 Evenly, because Evenly is just broken. Back row heavy or whatever, you just battle phase, boom, go ahead and banish. 1 Feather Duster, 3 Droll and Lockbird, and then I still have 3 Lancia because Lancia is just so good against so many meta decks out there. So that is the main deck and the side deck. All right, now let's dive into the combos and some tips on playing this deck that I've learned that I think are really going to benefit you if you're playing this deck. All right, guys, this is test hand number 1, and do my best here to show you how we're going to play this, and then also on your opponent's turn, and then some tips, because if they come up, I would like to share those with you because it's very important when you're playing this deck. It's a more knowledge you have of this deck, the better. That's an indie deck with Yu-Gi-Oh, but especially this one. So let's go ahead and draw 5 cards. Trap Trick. So Trap Trick is already busted because that's going to be our access to Prologue if we don't have it. Buster Whelp, which is Prologue. And Prologue. Red Eyes Wyvern, which is okay. And a Dark Magician, which is Brick. So on this turn, it's really simple. All you're going to do is normal summon Buster Whelp. They can Ash this, but if they don't, you're going to add Prologue here, which Trap Trick is then going to come in very handy. And then if they Ash that, you might use Trap Trick to go into another Prologue to set up your next turn following that because you're not going to be able to get over them. Then you're going to link Buster away, putting Buster in the graveyard. That is your dragon. And then you're going to go into Link Karibo with him. And then from here, literally all you're going to do is set Prologue. I'll hold these 3. You're going to set Trap Trick. And then on your opponent's turn, as soon as they make a move, you're going to go ahead and I would chain Prologue, which is then going to send Prologue is going to send Buster Blader and a Memories to your graveyard. Then you're going to chain Memories, banishing it to banish Buster Whelp and Buster Blader. And then that's going to allow you to send Fusion Summon out your Buster Blader. Then I would probably just go ahead and chain Trap Trick to that. So Trap Trick is going to resolve first. At this point, you can do Paleozoic Dinomiscus because we do have another Prologue in hand, so I don't need another Prologue. So let's go ahead and banish Paleozoic Dinomiscus. You could also change Strike. And then we're going to go ahead and set Dinomiscus. And that can be activated this turn. Then you banish those, which then allows you Memories, which is going to bring out your Buster Blader. I'll probably bring it there in defense mode. And then Prologue activates, which then brings out your Buster Dragon. So this is the Buster Lock. So now your opponent can't play. Anytime they're summoned, their monsters are all dragons. They're put into defense mode, and they can't activate their effects. So your opponent really can't get over that. If they have something that might, you got Dinomiscus here, you could banish. You could have set Strike also. Strike may have been better. And then your next turn, obviously, you need to get rid of the Buster Dragon because... So let's just say your opponent did nothing. They couldn't really do much. Maybe they set a monster. And you draw Strike. We're going to set Strike. We will normal out our Wyvern. And from here, you could go into Phoenix to go into Unicorn. You could go into Access Code. If we had Sword, we could do these 3 into Sword. You could also link these 2 off for Predaplant Anaconda to go into Dragoon. There's a lot of different things. And most importantly, boom, Prologue. So let's say we did. First thing I would do is normal summon this. I would go in battle phase, attack whatever monster is set, because this card also can't attack. If your opponent did not set anything, you could also link these two away. Go into Buster Whelp. So now if your opponent did not set any monsters, you could attack. You could have attacked with Wyvern. And then at the end of that, this one can trigger this, which will then allow you to inflict direct damage to your opponent. Or like I said, you could have went into Anaconda, which then could bring out your Dragoon. And you got plenty of back row, and you got next turn set up with Prologue. So that's the traditional combo starter. Let's try to see if we can set up maybe with a black metal starter or something else. All right, guys, so on this test hand, we're gonna see what we can open this time. I'd like to show you maybe a black metal Ash, which is a hand trap. Memories, which you don't wanna draw, but that's all right. We got Buster Whelp again, a Trap Trick, and a Gamma. So, I mean, this is still good. This is still your combo, but let's just, I'm gonna put these on the bottom. Which that hand was great, don't get me wrong. So, Strike, Nadir Servant, okay. A hand trap and Ash, Prologue, which is so good, and Called By. So, I mean, this hand is pretty easy. What you're gonna do is activate Nadir Servant, and Nadir Servant is then gonna send you your Ash Dragon, and then it's gonna search your Ecclesia. Since you don't need to go in your extra deck this turn, because there's really no way to extend to go into it, so we're gonna grab Ecclesia. Then you can go ahead and normal summon Ecclesia. You're like I said, you're not going into your extra deck here. So Ecclesia to search Punishment. Right there, which is a great follow-up. And you have so much here. I mean, your opponent's not gonna be able to play through. So let's say we set Called By, we set Prologue, we set Punishment, and we set Strike. And then this is our hand, which is Ash. On end phase, Ash Dragon is gonna search us our Fleur-de-Lis, which is gonna be a negate. And this is gonna be this is what I wanted to show you. Okay, so a last resort is playing Punishment because we don't want to be locked out of the extra deck. So as soon as our opponent does make a move, we Prologue, which is obviously going to send Memories, and it's going to send a Buster Blader to the grave. Then we're gonna chain Memories, banishing it, Buster Blader, and the Ash Dragon from our Nadir Servant. And then what that's gonna be able to do is we'll bring out our Buster and our Buster Dragon, which is gonna negate our opponent's field. Because this, again, the Buster Lock, we still have a Punishment, we have a Strike, and a Called By set. Now here's what's awesome about this, and this is one of the tips that I wanted to show you in playing this deck. So if your opponent does not set any monsters, or if you go into Dragoon and pop those monsters, I'm gonna show you how to get extra damage in with the Fleur-de-Lis. So check this out. Our turn, we draw, and we draw a Dinomiscus, which is great. So there's our hand there. We had an Ash, we had a Fleur-de-Lis, which that's been last resort. We had a Punishment, which we don't really want to use in a Strike, so this was really good. So let's say we are able to situationally, and we don't need to go into too much. So I would activate Fleur-de-Lis effect, or a special summoning itself. You could link these two away to go into Anaconda. Anaconda's, and then on Fleur-de-Lis also, if your opponent doesn't have anything, negate your Buster Blader, because its effect is it can't attack directly. So negate your Buster Blader. So now it can attack directly, which is so sick. We'll play Fusion, which is send Dark Magician, Red Eyes, which also Red Eyes Engrave is another follow-up to a Prologue. And then that brings out Dragoon. Let's say your opponent had a 1500 attack monster out there. Well, guess what? You pop it with Dragoon, there's 1500. 3000 is 45. There's 75 with Fleur-de-Lis with his effect. Anaconda is game, but let's say they had another one or something. Boom, this can now attack directly because you negated it with Fleur-de-Lis. So how crazy is that tip? If it comes up and you have Fleur-de-Lis, negate your Buster Blader's effects, because then you could attack over if it makes sense and it goes for game. All right, last one, I'm gonna try to show you a black metal combo so we can show you that as well. All right, so last hand, I'm gonna do my best to show you a black metal combo. I should just stage it and put it on top, but what fun would that be? We'll just draw 5 until we see the hand that we wanna see, so we'll cut. Let's see if we can pick up a black metal. I can't set that up. I can't, so that was good. Okay, black metal. We did get Buster Whelp, which is fine. Another black metal. We did do the brick and then the Deer Servant. Okay, I know this seems crazy because it's almost hurts to do it, but we need this to get to the prologue. So let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and add a prologue. Obviously, this is still combo. You want a black metal. I just want to add a prologue or a trap trick just to show you this combo of what it would be. So what we're gonna do is normal summon our black metal dragon. We're gonna link black metal dragon away for striker dragon. And I'm only doing this to show you the different ways to get into your Buster lock, which is the problem that I had with this deck with running the Red Eyes Fusion build, was getting ashed and not having dragons in the grave. So I built this to get dragons. So I'm just showing you this as a combo if you open black metal and no other way to get to your Buster lock. Black metal effect's gonna activate. Searching us our red MD. Red MD is gonna banish striker, summon itself, bring back black metal. Then we're gonna link those 2 away, putting 2 dragons in our graveyard for our anaconda. Black metal effect is gonna activate again, which is gonna search us our wyvern. Oh, my bad, I must have passed it. Yep, there he is. Which is gonna be our first thing when we negate off Dragoon. And then Anaconda's effect's gonna activate, sending Fusion, sending Dark Magician, sending Red Eye. So as you can see, we've stacked our graveyard now with plenty of dragons to Buster lock. So off of that, we're gonna bring out our Dragoon. All right, we can set our prologue, and then we're gonna let's just go ahead and play Nadir Servant. You could wait on this if you want to, but let's just go ahead and send Ash. Again, so many ways to it. Ecclesia. Now we can't use Ecclesia because we did use Anaconda here. And also Ecclesia locks you out of your extra deck, so you don't want to play it because then you can't get out your Dragoon. And then we're gonna set prologue, and then on end phase, we're gonna go ahead and grab Knight. So this is our board, which doesn't seem like much, but when you say Dragoon negate right there, 5 cards in hand, and then on your opponent's turn, as soon as they move, you prologue. We're gonna send a Memories, and we're gonna go ahead and send our Buster, chain Memories, banishing it to banish a Buster, and then let's look at our dragons here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So pick your poison. Whatever dragon you want to banish, we'll just go ahead and banish Ash Dragon since we don't need it. And then that is going to resolve that. Then that brings out our Buster Blader, Buster Dragon, which is our lock. And then good luck to our opponent if they can't get over that board. And then next turn we're going to draw, and then this is how we're going to go for game. You kind of getting the point here. We also have the Dogmatika package, which is nuts. So we draw an Ash, which is a hand trap, which is great. So here you can go into some different plays. Obviously, normal summoning your black metal, which you don't have to. You have Wyvern as well. You could link those 2 off, Anaconda and him off, for Buster Whelp to have that engraved. You could send off that, but you don't really need to. And then you have Buster Dragon, Red Eyes Dragoon, and if he doesn't attack, Buster Whelp. Also, special summon Ecclesia, special summon Fleur de Lis. You could search Punishment because you should be going for game here. If not, then find a way to get rid of Buster Dragon because at the end of the turn, it does get destroyed. And this is your board. So you got 3,000, maybe 4,000. He's just there, but 400, and also could be a direct attack with him if he does not attack. Ecclesia at 2,000, Fleur de Lis at 3,000 with the effect, and then a Buster Dragon that's just here. So Crazy board. I love this deck so much. I think it's an amazing deck, and I can't wait to run it this weekend. So let me know what you guys think about this. Let me know if you think this is competitive and what changes you would make. And then make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll keep going with these new deck profiles that we're going to be putting out. So this has been Tyler, House of Cards TCG, signing out.